What up, folks? It's your man Ang'Geon G hitting you with a brand spanking new album review. Right off the bat, we got a brand new album from your man Nas. This one's with Hit Boy again, and it's definitely a banger. This one's called Magic. It starts off with the track Speechless. This one has this electric buzzing in it. It has some plucks in there with a mid-tempo beat, and the instrumentation builds up with these dope bass lines and some easy head nods to go along with it. Nas, he lets the track breathe a little bit before he shoots off with these multiple flows, and he's really pristine with his delivery. He's talking about how he surpassed Club 27, how he solidified himself in the culture, and also building value and enjoying the fruits of his labor. He drops a line in there where he says, "Stop plotting on your brothers, plot on millions." And it has this amazing delivery to it. It sounds like a Dr. Dre type of beat. It definitely have like the game on it or something. Overall, I'm saving this one to my favorites. It's a great opener track. Then we jump into the next track, which is called Meet Joe Black. This one starts off with these horn sections and then some classic boom bap drums. And it has this super funky bass synth with this build up and these pianos that are tickling in the background. Nas does some of his best rapping here. He has several delivery styles, and he's dropping some wisdom, acknowledging his hard work, and also talking about his position amongst the greats. It sounds pretty hype, and it has tons of energy, and Nas definitely sounds like he's hungry. He drops multiple quotes in there, like the one when he said, "Been getting criticized, it's keeping me energized." I really felt that one. Overall, it sounds amazing, and it has some fun bops and energy to it. Nas definitely steps it up on this. Right after that, we get into the next track, which is called Ugly. It starts off with these soul sample chops, and it doesn't really have much drums going on with it, and it reminds me of a Mad Lib vibe. It takes a serious tone with the classic Nas type flow, and he's talking about the ugliness of our people fighting each other instead of building an empire, pretty much. It sounds like a loop type beat, and it kind of makes you wish that it had some knock to it. And he drops several lines in there, like the one where he says, "Even your mentor can get you sent for." I thought that was pretty deep. Overall, it's not really my type of beat, and it's not really my favorite so far on the album, but it does serve its purpose, and it has an important message. The album's only 9 tracks. We're already 3 in there deep. Right on to the next one, which one is called 4016 Building. It has a classic New York feeling to it with the boom bap drums. It's got these upbeat bass grooves, and it has some cinematic string progressions in there, along with some cool instrumentation and some horns at the end. Nas addresses his kids in the game, the state of hip hop, and being the villain and changing up with more money. It sounds like an old 90s type of rap song with some cleaner instrumentation and some motivational type feelings and lines in there. Nas dropped one where he says, "I hope it resembles Van Gogh when you paint me as the villain." Overall, this one is a cool track, and I definitely go back to this one. After that, we get into the next one, which is called Hollywood Gangsta. This one's got some lovely soulful melodies in there. It has this somber bass and horn progression in there, and it's easy on the snares and guitars. Nas comes through with this flow. It hits all the pockets, and he sounds like a true veteran, where he has some storytelling in there with the delivery, and then he's acknowledging phony people and maximizing his lifestyle. It sounds like an old Kanye type of track, and it has a cruising vibe to it. He drops a bar in there where he said, "You know a brother's rare, but I'm ghetto-esque." And it has a dope delivery to it. It's not really that deep, but it just sounds cool. Overall, it sounds like a Kendrick type of song, and it has this easily listening to it. We then get into Woo is for the Children, which is the next track. This one's another soul sample, and it has this loop beat to it. It has some additional instrumentation towards the end, and the background vocals are in there with some samples, and it has some bass guitars also. It also seems to be another track with minimal drum and percussion, no loudness or hard thumping to it. Nas comes off with this consistent flow with touching on topics like accountability, betrayal, and how he should have a Grammy, his proposed remix to Biggie's Gimme the Loot. He drops a line in there where he says, "I ran through a few of them hoes, but some of them gangsters, some Christian." I thought that was pretty telling, and it could get a little bit deeper, but that's for another episode. Overall, this one sounds like it has this sleepy feel and beat to it, and I wish it had a little bit more bump to it, but the flow is on point. After that, we start approaching the final lap of this album. We get into the last 2 tracks, starting off with the one Wave God. This one's featuring A$AP Rocky and it has DJ Premier aka Primo in the back doing some cool scratching. It starts off, and when we jump into it, it has the classic Primo on the 1s and 2s. It's got this hip hop drum beat, feels like the 90s. It's got some cool bass licks in there and some pad chords. A$AP, he leads off with this bouncy flow. It's really clean on the delivery side. He's feeling himself. He's got all this swag in there and he's talking about breaking hearts. Nas follows up. He's got this similar type delivery and energy with his flow. He sounds very seasoned and he's dropping rhymes about his world and how he starts the day and how he maintains who he is. Rocky rides the beat and has a line where he says, Prada bags, we cheesing like the Calvin ads. If you've seen him in the Calvin Klein advertisements, you know what he's talking about. Nas spits a line where he says, my adversity I face, I roll all my own gas to make sure it's not lace. He's talking about his weed there and how he throws it up himself to make sure nobody does anything to it. Overall, this one has that classic DJ Premier feel to it. It feels like New York City hip hop and it's heavy on the head nod and I freaking love it. After that, we get into the next track, which is called The Truth. It starts off with this repeating soul loop and it has some scratching and bass kicks in there with some clean drums and a bounce to it. Nasir, he takes charge with this delivery, not missing a beat at all. He speaks on the street life. He's talking about reaping rewards of hard work and true value in life and having the right people in your life to become what you need to be. It sounds like some skateboarding music from back in the early 2000s. It has this Common and Jay Dilla type of vibe to it. He drops some pretty personal bars in there where he says, when I'm gone, I pray my family doesn't get the cash and burn it. Overall, this one has a drivable mood to it and it's some easy background music with the message. We then get into the last track. This one's called Dedicated and it has this R&B upbeat feel with some funky bass synths. It's also got some vocal samples in the background with these chord progressions and the song splits into 2 sections. Nas attacks it with this easygoing flow in the first half. He's speaking on his life's dedication, the magic he's created in his life, and the history of this culture and his people. The beat switches and it takes a turn musically where it's heavier in the bass and it has some piano and guitar breaks in there. It sounds like it's perfect for an outro as it is, and Nas drops a line in there where he says, people ask me about what books to read. Destruction of Black Civilization, that's history. I do have that book over there, but I didn't finish it though. Overall, this one sounds dope and it has some cool grooves in it and Nas is really convincing with his delivery. Overall, this album is banging. Hit Boy is really shining on these instrumentals and it's really allowing Nas to step out of that normal and comfortable level that we're hearing him deliver things at. He's coming with new flows and he sounds like he's never sounded before, or maybe he's sounding like he sounded on these last couple of Hit Boy joints, which is really hungry and like he's ready to prove something. This album is fun. It has this ride and vibe to it. It hits with your boys and it has a unique production style due to your boy Hit Boy. I wasn't feeling the drumless songs as much, but Nas was definitely bringing the bars and spreading a good message. He definitely sounds hungry like I said before, and it still has something to prove. He has multiple flows all over here and the new delivery are definitely refreshing, and it's nice to hear him take on these new styles and be able to do it pretty well. The album bangs and it has this replay value to it, and it's pretty much non-stop on the bars, and it has these real life concepts and real life aspects to it. You're really going to be able to relate to it and understand what he's talking about. It's not crazy deep, it's really relatable, and it really feels like this was where Nas should be at his level. Let me know what you folks think. This is Nas and Hit Boy, the brand new album called Magic. Like, comment, and share. Let me know what you guys think. This is a pretty dope album to me. If this is your feel, put some comments down there in the comment section. Tell me what you feel about each track. Tell me what you feel about this review. If you like it or dislike it, what you might like me to do next. And I'll holla at y'all in the next one. It's your boy, Ang'Geon Emetrea, us the folks.